I was finally free from my job until their letter appeared in my kitchen. For 12 days, I actually believed I was free. I really thought I'd walked away clean. I stopped answering their calls. I blew past the project deadline. I ghosted the senior partners, and my direct supervisor just vanished into thin air. I expected a smear campaign, my face plastered everywhere with some fabricated scandal. Instead, I got nothing. Just silence. A deep, ringing silence that was somehow worse than any threat. The quiet was good for a while. I binged terrible reality shows, let takeout boxes pile up, played video games until my eyes felt like sandpaper. I was trying so hard to scrub the last few years from my brain, trying to forget. And then last night happened. It was late, maybe 1 in the morning. The apartment was dark except for the glow of the TV. I was heading to bed, my stomach full of greasy Kung Pao chicken, when the air changed. It went thick, heavy, like trying to breathe through wet wool. Every hair on my body stood on end, and a cold fist clenched in my gut. It wasn't just a feeling of being watched. It was a feeling of being known. My feet stopped working. They were supposed to be taking me to my bedroom, to the safety of my blankets. Instead, they turned me toward the kitchen. I didn't want to go. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to get the fuck out of my own apartment. But my body wasn't mine anymore. I stood in the doorway, paralyzed. The hum of the refrigerator sounded like a death rattle. A single bead of sweat traced a cold path down my temple. I was thirsty. No, that wasn't it. I wasn't hungry either. I was being pulled, summoned by something in that room. That's when I felt it. A coldness that had nothing to do with temperature. It started at the base of my neck, a specific pinprick of ice, and then it slithered down my spine, vertebra by vertebra. I couldn't breathe. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. My hand flew to the light switch without my permission. I slapped it, hard. A crack of pain shot up my arm, so sharp I thought I'd broken a bone. I stumbled back, gasping, the shock of it breaking the spell. The air in the hallway was suddenly, sickeningly hot, like I'd been shoved into an oven. My sweat didn't feel cold anymore, it was boiling. It took a second for my vision to clear, for the throbbing in my hand to subside. The kitchen light was on. It spilled out into the hall, a sterile yellow glare. I didn't want to go in there. God, I didn't want to go in there. I shut my eyes, trying to force air into my lungs. 1 breath, 2, 3. This is just a panic attack. You're overtired. You quit a high-stress job. This is normal. On the 4th breath, I opened my eyes, and I saw it. Sitting on my kitchen table, right on top of the newspaper I'd been reading this morning, was an envelope. Old, cheap, slightly crumpled. An envelope I recognized with a jolt that was worse than any physical pain. An envelope I had personally thrown into a public dumpster 12 days ago. My brain just shut down. White noise filled my ears. My legs, moving like they belonged to a stranger, carried me across the linoleum floor. I kept hoping, praying it was just junk mail I'd forgotten about. A bill, a credit card offer, anything but that. My hope shriveled and died as I got closer. Scrawled on the front in thick red ink was a single word. A word that shouldn't be terrifying. Rules. You think you know fear, but you have no idea. Not until a simple word can make your knees buckle and your vision swim. The human mind is a funny thing. It will do anything to protect itself. It will lie, it will bargain, it will create entire realities to avoid the one staring it in the face. I told myself I must have brought it home by accident. That in my haste to get away, I'd stuffed it in my pocket and just forgotten for 12 days. Right. The lie was thin, pathetic, but it was all I had. I clung to it. The shaking in my hands started to ease. I snatched the letter off the table and threw it against the wall. It hit with a pathetic little flutter and slid to the floor. As I turned to leave that godforsaken kitchen, I heard a sound from behind me. Not a knock. It was a sharp, single tap. Like a fingernail on glass, it was aggressive, impatient. This time, there was no fear. Only a flat, cold resignation. I turned back around slowly. I scanned the kitchen. The faucet wasn't dripping, the windows were closed. Nothing was out of place. Except my wall calendar. The one I hang next to the fridge. It was on the floor. Must have knocked it down when I threw the letter, I thought. The lie felt even weaker this time, but I said it in my head with as much conviction as I could muster. I bent down to pick it up. If I had known what I was about to see, I would have left it there. I would have set my whole apartment on fire and walked away. The entire month wasn't filled with my appointments or reminders. Every single box, from the 1st to the 31st, was filled with the same 3 words, scrawled over and over in what looked like the same dark red ink from the envelope. The pen strokes were so deep they'd torn through the paper in places. Read the letter. Read the letter. Read the letter. The room tilted. My head felt light, like it was floating away from my body. I grabbed the edge of the table to keep from falling, my knuckles white. I ended up collapsing into a chair, staring at the calendar in my hands and the letter on the floor. From the outside, I must have looked like a madman. A grown man, shaking in his kitchen, staring at a defaced calendar. It wasn't surreal. It was the most real thing that had ever happened to me. Read the letter. Read the letter. Read the letter. Read the letter. I finally understood what true mortal terror felt like. It's not a scream. It's a complete system shutdown. My stomach tried to heave up the chicken I'd eaten hours ago. My legs were dead weight, my arms useless anchors. I was just a vessel for this overwhelming dread. Why me? I was just a glorified public relations guy. I did what I was told. I left quietly. I never spoke about the rules. How could I? I never even opened the damn letter. I should have known. In my line of work, you learn one thing very quickly. The people at the top never ever let you just walk away. Read the letter. Read the letter. Read the letter. The fight went out of me. It wasn't a choice. My body, still not my own, leaned down. My fingers, trembling, closed around the cheap paper of the envelope. My mind was a single, sustained scream of protest, but it was a million miles away. I tore it open. I'm sure you want to know what it said. Dear Mr. Almasi, we are pleased to inform you that you have been selected for this week's asset acquisition service. As a valued member of our organization, you are already familiar with the general procedure. Our records indicate this is not your first time undertaking this honorable duty for the cause. We thank you for your continued commitment. You cannot possibly imagine how vital this work is to the greater good. We will dispense with the usual formalities, as we trust your previous experience will suffice. Please find your operational guidelines below. 1. The contents of this correspondence are not to be discussed with anyone, ever. Rest assured we will know. 2. The asset is contained within a briefcase at the following address, redacted. You will not open it. You will retrieve it and deposit it in the designated receptacle at party headquarters. 3. For your continued safety, whatever you may see or hear within the building, you will adhere strictly to the marked path. We assume no liability for any deviations from the route. 4. The briefcase will be resting on a bar stool in a dimly lit room. An individual will be present, standing before it with their back to you. You will not speak to them. You will not attempt to see their face. Their presence is a professional courtesy to ensure a smooth transfer. 5. During your transit to the drop-off point, you will feel observed. You are. Do not look behind you. Do not alter your pace. Do not entertain any thoughts of absconding with the asset. You will regret it more than you can possibly fathom. To ensure your full and complete understanding of these simple guidelines, we have compiled the following supplementary materials for your review. We wish you a successful operation, and again, thank you for your service. Sincerely, the party. I'm pretty sure I looked like a corpse after I finished reading. I certainly felt like one. You noticed I left out the part about the supplementary materials. The second page wasn't a set of rules. It was a dossier on my mother, my father, my grandparents, both the living and the dead, and my partner, Anya, who thinks I sell agricultural software and is currently sleeping peacefully 3,000 miles away, a person I have never, ever mentioned to a single soul at work. Every detail was perfect. Addresses, social security numbers, places of work. medical histories. There were even short, sickeningly intimate biographies of their lives. My eyes scanned the page, my brain refusing to process the words. Then, a final sentence, typed at the very bottom, jumped out and strangled the last bit of air from my lungs. "We trust you will complete your task, Zev. You can't run. Ruben couldn't. Don't make Ruben's mistake." The world went black. I woke up hours later, slumped over my kitchen table. My neck was a knot of pure agony. The taste in my mouth was foul, and my shirt was soaked through with sweat. For a beautiful, fleeting second, I thought it was a nightmare. Then I saw my table. The letter was gone. The calendar was back on the wall, clean. But someone had been there while I was out. Scrawled across the wood of my dining table in thick black marker, over and over, were two things. Today, 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 today. And a time, repeated just as many times. 9:37 p.m., 9:37 p.m., 9:37 p.m.